I believe the screen is visible.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So again, welcome everyone and very good morning. Now, today we are going to cover two things. First of all, I will tell you about myself and I will discuss about what are the course contents and how we are going to cover that. So the details around the batch, that's what going to be covered. And after that, we will just start a small topic, which will be considered as in day one topic. Okay, so that is also what we are going to do. Now, that being said, so this course is designed in order to give you the end-to-end uh, insight view of FortiGate firewall, which is the next generation firewall designed under the banner of the Fortinet. Now, when I say end-to-end, it means manageability, configuring, and troubleshooting. So these three aspects are the core fundamentals which the entire course is based upon. Now, the topics what we are going to cover, which I will show you in the next few slides. The thing is, those topics will cover the entire firewall uh, in in the way to start from basic
From base.
to the advanced. Okay, I hear my echo, so please be on mute. And if you have questions, then only unmute yourself. Thank you. Okay, so before I deep dive into that, let me give a brief intro about myself. So I have 14 plus years of working in this industry as a security specialist. And when I say 14 years, that means 14 years as a network guy. So I have worked on several ranges of security devices. Four of the products companies you can see on the list. Apart from that, I have been also been working in the SWG solutions. So there are three more SWG products which is under my banner. Okay, so this is what I do. This is I still do. So I try to see the customer on a broader view and try to help them to get more and more secured with reference to my solution. And while doing that, I have come across many problem challenges, and I have found myself putting in their shoes to see what is the point of view in terms of businesses. And that's where and like that has helped me a lot to be a better solution provider, because there I can relate that, okay, what you are exactly looking for, right? So in this course, you will see that I will be discussing a lot of my personal experience, and I will be bringing up that what really matters and what not. See, there are a lot of things inside the networks, lot, okay, but everything doesn't needs our effort to learn and all. Okay, so there are some things which is not that much necessary or it's at all a waste of time, but there are some things which we cannot play with. It's like we have to be really good, okay, the best at that game. So I will be giving you those insights, what really matters when you are going to be on the front of the desk dealing with the customers. Now, that being said, uh, let's start with the course overview here. So the course is actually, if you will look with reference to the FortiGate point of view or the certification point of view, so the course is actually divided into three main modules. One is the FortiGate security, the other one is infra, and the third one is a specialization. Okay, so let me show you what is covered under the FortiGate security module. That is, we are going to talk about the policies. When I say policies, that means how would I know what policy I have to configure? How would I know that do I have to configure a policy or not? Okay, how would I decide that? How is the policy working? What all things I can apply inside the policies, right? So in order to manage troubleshoots and all that, so these things will come into play. See, policy is something like okay, hey, in incoming interface is port one, outgoing interface is WAN, source is all, destination is all, action allow, right? So it starts from top to bottom match. So I'm not going to talk about these things. This is something which most of you would be aware of. And anyhow, when I will show you that, this will make sense to you. The real deal is like the questions what I asked, do I need a policy? And if yes, of what type? Okay, or of what kind? How would I know? Okay, so I will give you those tips and tricks that will give you a comfort that do you need a policy or not. Now, that being said, we are also going to cover the NATing configuration. NAT means IP to IP or the port to port translation. I think most of you would also be familiar with that. But that's not the thing what we are going to learn. The real deal that we are going to learn is how would I know what type of NAT and where I have to deploy? So if a customer is having a topology where he is having maybe several routers, firewalls, switches, SD-WAN, LBs, right? So he's having a lot of devices inside his setup. Now the customer asks me, okay, hey, I have a certain network who wants to go to a certain destination. So can you give me a suggestion where I should configure a NAT, or do I really need a NAT or not? Right? So these are the questions what you need to be comfortable with. So you will only be able to make a comfort with such an deployment scenarios if you know exactly what you are working on, right? So that's the concept what we are going to focus on in terms of NATing. Now that being said, the authentication. So in the authentication part, we are going to cover the concept of the authentication. The best part is you are the firewall guy, right? So authentications are something which you do not configure on the firewall. Now, when I say we do not configure the authentication on the firewall, I mean that you do not configure the auth servers on the firewall. You do not build up an LDAP, Radius, or SAML on your firewall. You simply integrate your firewall, or you configure your firewall to integrate with, or to tell him, okay, hey, you have to talk to this authentication server, which is an LDAP, and please check the login users based upon those server feeds, right? So that's what you need to do. So the job what we have to do is integration. We are not going to manage or configure the AD servers, LDAP servers, or like that. Those are Microsoft Team supports guys, right? The IT support guys. Now that being said, although we are not supposed to configure that, but still we should know how these protocols work, right? How these authentications work. So I will give you the tips and tricks how to think around the authentication, which will help you to navigate through any authentication problems that may come across your firewall. Now, that being said, the next one is SSL VPN. Of course, we are going to talk about VPN and two types of VPN to be precise, that is SSL and the IPsec. Okay. So we are going to see that what are the messages, what are the concepts, what are the cases that you have to consider in order to decide whether you have to go with SSL or you have to go with an IPsec, and what type, right? So all those things will be covered inside that. Now, security profiles is another way to represent UTM features. UTM means Unified Threat Management. So that covers the features like web filter, application control, DNS filter, IPS, antivirus, file filter, video filter, right? So all these features will come into play, which will help you to give a sense how you can secure your network in a more broader manner and in a granular way. Okay, so you can control each bits and bytes, whatever will go and not go within your network. So you have a full control onto that. So which one you have to use, where and how. Okay, so all these things will be covered in here. Yes, the logging and the certificates, as the name states, that we will also need to see that where I can verify the logs, what logs I have to see, how to read those logs, right? The debugs and all. And how does the firewall makes the use of the certificates? Actually, if you ask me, certificate is something which will be the part of security profiles itself. That is the point number 5 here, because without the certificates, these are worthless. Okay, so I will give you the analogy why I'm saying that when we are going to learn the UTM features in like a broader detail. Now, that being said, see the next one is like, okay, so this is the same point, like the deep dive into the security profiles. Now, the reason why I have added this as a separate point instead of security profiles is you see here, this is a specialization, right? So did you notice I mentioned here that we are going to see how, where, and what profiles you have to set up, right? To meet your requirement, to help to secure your network. But let's say to the best of our efforts, we have done the right configuration, okay? But something is not working as it should have. So how would you troubleshoot that? So now verifying the config setup, okay, deployments and all, that's the basic stuff which the L1 people can do or the customer's network engineer can do. But what if your configuration is good, everything is good, but still it is not working because of some reason? How would you deep dive into that? So that's where the background functioning of these profiles come into play. Whatever I have talked to you so far, whatever I have mentioned, okay, these firewall policies, natting, authentications, or whatever topics you will see henceforth, keep in mind every topic will be discussed, like I said, from the core basics. The reason behind that is because the motive is not, it's like, at least not in my batch, I do not ask my students to focus on the configuration part and all. That's like what I never encourage anyone to do that. The focus is on the concept. If your basics is clear, you will be able to build up the concept, right? So if I say, okay, hey, there's a problem with the web filter, looking onto the configuration, in the back of your mind, you should see or speculate, okay, this is what would have the firewall been doing with this configuration, right? So that's what we need. Okay, so I should see a complete visualization in my front of the eyes that, okay, hey, so a packet was coming in that packet. This was the header, this inside that header, this was the field, and this is the field what the firewall would have looked for, right? And based upon that, then he would have applied this matching. So does this packet contains that field inside that header? Let's take a Wireshark capture and see inside that, right? See, because I know that how does something works, so it is giving me an action plan in my mind how to move away forward with the problem that is in front of me, right? So concept really matters. Okay, so when we say deep dive, I'm talking about the functioning. How does the antivirus function? How does the web filter function? How does the application control function? Or for that matter, anything in the firewall. If something is functioning, how? Okay, it's not that, okay, hey, you have configured the policy, source all, destination all, action allow, it's done. It will send it. How? How is a packet said to be matching with the policy? How is a packet said to be matching with the existing session or not matching with the existing session? How? What you are looking at? Okay, so these things needs to be answered. That means basics. Okay, so basics is going to be the key driving factor in my classes. Now, that being said, see the module number 2, which is FortiGate infrastructure. Here we are focusing on the routing and the features like VDOMs, HAs, and your FSSO integration is part of the authentication itself. Here only FSSO will also come on because FSSO stands for single sign-on. Okay, so that is also part of the authentication. Now, you can see here we are going to talk about the static routing, PBR, policy-based routing, dynamic routing. In like dynamic routing, we are going to focus on OSPF and like BGP. Now, when I say we are going to focus on OSPF and BGP, now let me be very clear here. It is true that, of course, we are going to learn the basics that how is the OSPF or the BGP neighborship is formed and how is the routing update shared and all that. The messages involved into it, LSA 1, 2, 3, 4, and the IP to which it sends the messages like 224.0.0.5, 224.0.0.6. And likewise, right, the concept of the stub, not so stub, and totally stub areas, and also all these things we are going to talk around the OSPF theoretical part. But if anyone is working here, you would relate with this statement. Have you ever heard Or have you ever got a case where you have got to apply your 224005 or 224006 knowledge, or the knowledge how the DR BDR has to be elected, or what happens at the X start state master and slave elections? Do you? When you troubleshoot the problems of OSPF or like BGP, or in terms of the BGP, anything related to that handshakes and all? Hardly you will hear the problem saying, okay, hey, there is a neighborship problem with the OSPF or the BGP. Hardly. Why? Because these are some things which is most likely going to be fixed by simply verifying and comparing the configurations, which a simple college pass out can do. So that's not the real troubleshooting of these routing protocols. The real deal is the customer is saying, hey, you know what? My BGP is saying that if I have to reach to a certain network, I have to go via ISP1. My requirement is it should be ISP2. So I want my ISP2 to be the primary path and ISP1 to be the secondary or the standby, right? So please help me to manipulate the BGP routing decision. The customer is saying, okay, hey, you know what? I have a branch in Melbourne. There we have onboarded a new project. Okay. And we have added 3 to 4 networks there. But what happens is in India, Bangalore location, the office is not receiving those newly added subnets. So can you help me to figure out why I'm not getting the newly added networks on my location, right? These things will come into play. Okay. So when the customer is asking you to add something, remove something, modify something, the behavior, what the BGP is saying or the OSPF is saying, that's where your knowledge come into play. So the basics, what we will try to build, like I said, of course, we are going to talk about the basic messages, how the neighborship is built and what are the messages around it. So we are doing that because we need to understand how I can use the fields, the parameters, the attributes, the values that goes inside the packet in order to modify as per the customer requirement. Okay, so that's what we are going to talk about. Okay, now in like layer 2 switching concept, we are going to talk about the VLANs, a simple topic. Okay, of course, we are also going to cover how we are going to configure the SD-WAN. Okay, so that's also an SD-WAN as a part of the FortiGate firewall. Keep in mind, FortiGate firewall provides SD-WAN as a feature, okay, within itself. So that's what we are going to talk about. Now, when it comes to troubleshooting, everything is about the troubleshooting. Okay, so no matter what we learn, it has to be practical in terms of deployment and T-shoot, right? So there will be separate classes which I will be taking around 4 to 6 hours, which will be entirely focused with reference to troubleshooting only, where we are going to talk about the mindset of troubleshooting. Now, let me clear the expectations here. When I say that, okay, I see some messages. Let me check that. On some devices required NAT, but we didn't enable and vice versa. I think internet will not work. Explain, please. On some device required NAT, but we didn't enable. Vice versa. I think internet will not work. So you are saying that on the device, you have not enabled the SNAT and your internet is not working. Why? That's what your question is?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So it is because your next hop does not know your source network routing address. That's why. Now, this statement will not make sense right now, but when I will explain you the concept of the NATing, but see, in like general, you will see people saying that because the private IPs are not routable over the internet. Okay, that's what they will say. That's why you have to configure the SNAT on the edge devices. Okay, but I don't take that as statement. That is true, but I will give you the concept where everything is applicable to that single statement, what I just mentioned, that your next hop device does not know about the source network. That's why you need to configure the SNAT. Okay. So if you do not do that, Who is talking now? I'm hearing a lot of noise, sort of saying. I'm muting you, please. Uh, what I was saying. So okay. So see, I think you like got your answer, right? That because your source IP will not be routable over the internet, that's why you have to change that. Okay, that's why you have to configure the SNAT. Okay, but like detailed explanations will be given you when I will touch the netting concept. Okay, there is one more. Modifying path attributes can help to direct the traffic. Yes, of course it can. Okay, so that's how we are going to impact the decision of BGP and the OSPF. Okay, so wherever you want me to send the traffic, I will tell the BGP that, okay, hey, this is what you have to think like, right? So how would I tell the BGP? So based upon the attributes, right? So if let's say, for example, I am dealing with an eBGP setup, so the attributes what I'm going to likely play with is MED and AS path, correct? So these are the two things what I will be likely playing with. But if I'm dealing with an iBGP, then I will be playing with a local preference. Okay, or if I want to be neutral only to impact my own device but not to my neighbors, then I will play with the weight, right? So there are 11 parameters or the attributes what you have to consider in terms of the BGP. Okay, and in terms of the OSPF, you have only one, that is metric. That is the cost, okay, that you can play with, and most likely E1 or E2. That depends if your traffic is, or sorry, your route is being learned as an LSA file. Okay, so it's all about the attributes. That's how we are going to impact that, the routing decision of the BGP and the OSPF. Okay. Now, see here. Okay, so like I was talking about the troubleshooting, right? So let me give the purview with what we are going to cover. So whatever topic we are going to touch, right? Like I said, it will be from basics. See, there are two ways, steps how we will complete each and every topic. First is theoretical part, where we will start from basics and move till the top. Okay, so once the theory is completed, then we will apply that in the lab. So whatever concept I will give you in theory, that must be proven in the lab, right? Because if I do not see the same thing going in the lab logs, I will not believe it. It's that simple. Okay, so if I say, okay, hey, TCP works in this way, or let's say the HA cluster works in a certain manner, so I need to prove that in the lab, right? So once we see theory and the lab, so our concepts are solid. Okay, now why we are doing that activity, so that if in case we are stuck in an HA related troubleshooting or something, since we know the backend behind the scene of those cluster functioning, so it's easy for me to exactly pinpoint what I have to look for in the logs or in the packet captures or in the debugs, right? So what I have to look for, what I am looking for. Okay, so if something strange is there in those lines, I will be able to pinpoint that, and like that's my RC, a root cause, and the solution will then follow, right? So in troubleshooting classes, it's like the classes what I will take for troubleshooting, uh, the 4 hours or 6 hours class, there I will give you the mindset to think about issue. Okay, take my word, no one can teach you troubleshooting. No one. It's you will teach the T-shoot to yourself. The point is, the more you try to work on cases, the better you will be a troubleshooter. Okay. What I can give you is the way forward, how to think, how to navigate. Okay. The style to T-shoot. But each one of you will have your own way to T-shoot. Okay, so that's good. That's really good. Never try to copy anyone. Okay, it's your way. But the fundamentals, the mindset, what you have to think according to the troubleshooting, that's what I am going to give you in that 4 to 6 hours of class. Now, see why I'm saying the mindset, because the beauty of the network engineer's job is you have no idea what is the case that is going to land on your desk. No idea, right? I might have never worked on a case of, let's say, for example, you got a case of slowness for the SMB protocol. You have never worked on SMB protocol. You have no idea how does the SMB or the CIFS protocol work, right? So in that case, what you are going to do? Customer is on the call with you, right? So you cannot be silent on that. You have to say him something. You have to buy your time around so that you can learn about that something and give him something at a work around or something as a fix. You have to do something, right? So how would you do that? How would you tackle such a problem where you have no idea what you are looking at? Right. So it's all about the mindset. T-shoots what we do. And that's what something what I have been doing from more than a decade. Okay, so that's is something which I will be focusing on the troubleshooting classes. Whereas, as far as the T-shoot is considered, the concept of the T-shoot is from the day one till the end of the batch. Okay, so it's a continuous process. Now, that being said, the next one is, see here, Security Fabric is also a concept of the FortiGate firewall, which we will be learning about, which tells the FortiGate firewall that how you can integrate with any other similar or different vendor devices, right? So if I have to integrate my firewall with, let's say, FortiAnalyzer, FortiManager, FortiAuth, FortiSIM, FortiCloud, so how I can do that, okay? Or maybe I have to integrate my FortiGate firewall with any private cloud or maybe with any public cloud. Okay. So clouds like Kubernetes, OCI, AWS, GCP, Azure, right? So or like EXSI, VMware solutions and all. So with if you have to integrate your firewall with any of these solutions or any of those servers, how would you do that? So that's what the security fabric talks about. So it is just most likely a theoretical concept. So that's we will be talking about the cluster. We will talk about how to form a cluster. How does the cluster work? Okay. So um, now see when I say how does the cluster work, to be honest, in FortiGate firewall or most likely anywhere, hardly you have to run 3 to 4 commands. Okay. In like FortiGate firewall, if you ask me, it's 3 commands. You run just 3 commands and your firewall is in cluster. So are we here to learn that? No. The real thing is behind the scene action, right? So that's what we are going to focus on. Why I need a cluster? What is the problem, right? Then we will see the solution as a cluster. So that will give us a sense how does the cluster work, so that if in future, if I get the problem related to the cluster, I exactly know what to work on and where to work on. Now, see here, the VPNs where it is talking about the IPsec and the AAD VPN. AAD VPN is nothing but your hub and spoke setup, or in like Cisco terms, you can call it DM VPN. Okay, so all these things we are going to talk and like learn the concepts around it, deployment and the T-shoot. Now, with reference to the SD-WAN, we are going to see how the SD-WAN helps us to monitor the interfaces in an advanced manner, right? We can also see how we can route the traffic based upon the SD-WAN rules and all. We will also learn about the concept for traffic shaping. When I say traffic shaping, that means DSCP and the traffic shaper feature what the FortiGate firewall has. We will also see how we can load balance the traffic as per your requirement. I mean, no matter what or how or what way you want to load balance the traffic. Okay, so we will see that, right? This is the same AD VPN. Okay, FortiGuard, what is the concept of the FortiGuard and how to troubleshoot the FortiGuard related problems? BGP and web, I think these points are repeated, so leave that. Yes, so that's been said. So this overall course, as you see in with reference to the topics, we are going to cover end to end of the FortiGate firewall. Everything needs to be done on the lab. Okay. And once you are done with this, then you are entitled to complete 2 of the certifications, that is NSE 4 and 7. okay, which is now been part of the CISSP and sorry, um, FCSSP and FCNSC, right? So these are the two level of the certifications where you can apply yourself or you can find fit yourself to crack that. Okay, but yes, the main motive is once you are done with this modules and courses, you will be confident to troubleshoot anything that is related to your FortiGate firewall. Anything. So if there is a question, let me know regarding the course content. Any
Hi,
questions?
Rohan, Parvez this side. So it
Yeah.
will cover NSC 7 and NSC
Cool.
4, right?
Yes.
4. Okay.
Yeah, hi Rohan. I have a question regarding I have never been the part of this firewall before. I would like to
Mhm.
know whether would you be covering for those who have never been the part of firewall as well, or you expect every student to be having some basic knowledge of firewall and they are working in that area, and then this course or probably this batch is useful for them.
Okay. Thank you for asking that. I was about to touch that point in the next point. Okay. So see here, the point is you have never worked on the firewall of any kind, that's absolutely okay. You are new to the network domain itself, that is absolutely okay. Only thing I expect from my students is that if I say the terms like IP, MAC address, ARP, right? Or if I say like routing, like I'm using the word like, okay, hey, a certain network is getting routed via a gateway. So in this network, subnet, gateway, routing, does these terms make sense to you?
Yeah,
If
exactly.
yes,
Yeah, exactly. I'm
yes.
aware of all these things. Yeah, that's
Huh.
true.
So see, this is what I am implying is if these network terms are making sense to you, then this
Mhm.
course is for you.
Okay,
As you might have noticed, I am repeating myself over and over that whatever we will start is always going to be from the basics, core
perfect.
basics, right?
Yeah.
So we
Hmm.
are going to build up onto that. Okay. So if so, see, when I will say the basics, when I will talk about that, I will be using general network terms, right? So those terms should make sense to you. What is ARP? What is IP? What is subnet? Right? So gateways and all. So if these things are making sense to you, this course is for you.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I have a second question from you, Rohan, is um, from the practical aspect, like when we go to CCNA or CCNP sort of course, we do have some console like packet tracer and stuff like that on to which we
Yes.
can do some practical things.
Correct.
Do we have some
Correct.
similar things over here as well, which we
Yes.
can download and we can do the practical after you teaching?
See, you cannot download, but you have the packet capture tool called a sniffer that is built inside the firewall, which you can use. And also, if you can, if you want to download the PCAP, you can do it from the FortiGate GUI itself. You do not need a separate tool for that, as far as the PCAP is considered. You will also be learning the way to take the debugs and how to read that, right? So these things will be covered. So even after the batch, if in case you want to do your labs and try to replicate something and take the packet captures, that is an ease of job in the FortiGate firewall. You just have to click on the packets and select capture, and it will start doing the capture. Okay. You do not need a third party tool for that.
So I didn't get that part. Can you repeat? Because this you're talking
See,
about.
let me show you
Uh-huh.
what do I mean by that.
Okay.
So while I'm showing this, let me also complete my point is like everything has to be done on the lab, right? So see, this is how the lab will be accessed. And each one of you who has enrolled into the course will be receiving an email with the URL and the username and password, what you will use to log in. And once you log in, you will see, okay, I will first show you, then I will show you the labs. Now, this is one of the basic lab, what I'm going to use in most of the cases. And let me first answer your question, and then I will talk about more into the labs. Okay, so see, let's say for example, you have to take a packet capture. You will simply go in here under the network, packet capture. Okay, just click it. Come on. Create new, set the filter, or just choose what interface you want to take the packet capture, how many packet captures you want. You can set the filters if in case you want to choose exactly which packets you are looking for. Or if you want to take a blind capture, that's your call. You press OK and you simply select it. Try to start the packet capture here. Now you will see it is running, right? Okay, there has been 0 packets. Now it says 6 packets captured, right? So it is now you whatever traffic you want to replicate that, and it is continuously taking the packet capture on the port 1. If in case you want to take the packet capture on the egress interface as well, you will create a new packet capture profile where you will say, okay, hey, take capture on the port 2 as well, which is the outgoing interface, right? So just right click and running. And you will see that it will also start taking the packet capture, what is coming on the port 1 and like leaving from the port 2, or the vice versa. Now, if let's say you think that, okay, hey, my capture is done. Okay, you stop it, you right click and download. Now you will see that it has downloaded a file with the .pcap, right, which you can easily open in the Washer. Got it?
Yeah, but I have never seen this interface before. It's saying something about FortiGate FGTI. Is this
Which
something where I need to make my own login to learn, or what
Yes,
is
you
it?
have to make your own login. So let me explain the lab structure. So this is the Eve cloud-based platform. Let me
Mm,
more actions, stop all nodes. Okay. So see, once you log in, right, like I did, just give a moment. Close lab. Okay, so once you log in, you will see these are the FortiGate labs. Okay.
yeah, yeah,
So this is Eve platform where I have created multiple labs. Okay. So now if I like the lab, what I was showing you before is the basic lab. I will click onto that. I will click on open. It will show the lab what I have. Here is the Windows species, Cisco router, FortiGate firewalls. Okay. And this is our internet gateway, the networking's gateway. Okay. So whatever you do, just like in Cisco Packet Tracer, you will add several nodes into it, right?
yeah,
Correct?
yeah. Hmm.
Similar to that, we have Eve where you add all the nodes or whatever topology you want to build it, power it on, and then you can take the access of such devices. Clear? So it's just like you are working on that respective firewall. Now keep in mind one thing. In the lab, whatever topology structure or the text what I have written will be replicated on each one's lab. So you will exactly see the same topology and the text what I have written. Okay. But the configuration is not copied. So the configuration what I have done on my lab will not be replicated to anyone's lab. And that being said, if you build your own configuration of whatever, that is not going to be copied to anyone else. It's your own. Okay, clear? Now, you will not have the power to create your own topology. That is something which you cannot do. So this is why if you are looking for any other topology to have your hands on to, you just show me the design or the diagram. I will create it for you. You can see I've created many such things. Whatever the students have asked me, I have done it for them. Okay. So whatever you want, show me the diagram. I will do it for you. Clear?
Mm, Rohan, one quick question.
Yes, please.
So, I also have this EVNG lab. So I tried to, I got the image from Fortinet, but when I'm trying to create multiple interfaces, okay,
Mhm.
so it was giving me license error, like more than three
Yes.
interface I can
What is
create.
the software version you are using?
Let me just quickly check. I think 7.8, I think, or 7.6.
So see
I
the
don't know.
and not only the interface, 7.8 will not allow you to do lot of things. Okay.
Okay. Hmm, hmm.
So see the point is, let me tell you here in the FortiGate firewall, oh sorry, in the lab, you will notice
Yeah.
that whatever FortiGate I am using is of the version 7.0. Okay. I'm
Okay.
not using 7.6 or 7.4 or 7.8. There is a reason behind that why we are not able to use the 7.8 or 7.6. Because after 7.0, what the Fortinet did is they are giving the freeware software license, but with a very limited functionality. That means you can create
Yeah.
few policies, you can route it, but if you try to apply the UTMs or something, it will not work. Okay, but if you try to do something else, it will not support. Okay, so there are a lot of challenges, problem in there. Okay, so they have limited it to a very, it's like now the softwares are given as a freeware just to get a gist. Okay, this is how the firewall looks like. This is what the options are, but they will work or not. That's they have controlled it completely, right? So that's why these softwares are not good for your practice. If you have to practice, take the latest one is 7.0. Okay, so 7.0
Got
will
it.
allow you to do lot of things except VDOM. VDOM is something which you cannot do, and proxy. Okay, so these two are
Okay.
the licensed features, so they will not allow you to do that. Rest, anything you can do on the FortiGate firewall. Okay,
Got it. Got it.
so
Thank
go
you
with
for
the 7.0 software.
yeah.
Okay, now one thing. Okay, I see someone has raised the hand. Yes, Muhammad Kaf.
Sir, I have a Fortinet Firewall Model 50. The issue is that there are no link on the LAN port, but the WAN port are showing link. Because of this, I am unable to configure the device. Could you please tell me what the possible problem could be?
Okay, I can't right now. The session is getting live streamed, and since you're talking about the production, there are a lot of things that has to be considered, and that may breach the certain agreement. Okay, so I would request you to please ask me these questions when we are actually in the class, which is not live streamed. Okay.
Okay.
Rohan, I have
Yes.
one question
Yes, please.
regarding lab. So the 7.0 you're saying it support all the features, right? So
Except two, yes.
yeah, so in our course content, so it will cover everything, or
It will cover everything except the VDOM and the proxy part, the proxy behavior. That's so like in like VDOM, or VDOM is something which is also I will be able to show you in the course. Okay. I will not be able to show you multi VDOM, but I can show you the VDOM. I can tell you the concepts and the work around it. Okay. So if you ask me out of 10, what part of will be covered and like what will not, so I will say out of 10, 9.5 we will be covering, and we will be able to see. Only dot 5 is something which we will not be.
so we
Okay.
cannot do practical on the lab. I meant to say, like
See,
we don't do practical.
the features what is not supported. Okay, there is
Uh-huh.
no, for those features we do not need to do the practical to see that. That is something which I can anyhow show you on the other way. Okay, so you will not be feeling a need to do the practical for that. Like I said, like for example, proxy behavior, right? So when I will show you the flow based behavior, how the traffic has been processed and what it is looking into and all that, and when I will show you the web based access, where you will see the proxy and the PCAP, how it is translating the IP. So you will not feel the need to actually see the proxy behavior in terms of the config, what you can do on the FortiGate. Okay. Because see, the motto is to learn proxy, right? Right. So I can show you based upon the browser based behavior, not based upon the software based behavior. Okay, so that's what the difference is. But yes, in like both ways, proxy is doing the same thing, right? So that is something which I can show you.
Okay.
Sir, please let me know a suitable time to talk with you.
I just let's start the class first. Okay, so tomorrow we can talk. Okay. Do not
Okay,
worry.
okay.
Yes, please.
So
Rohan, I'm
for
sorry. I'm actually coming back again. I can see that people are quite experienced over here. They have done something with the firewall, so they know about the name of the software and the version they have talked. Would you mind please writing the name of the software and the version, the prerequisite to download in the PC, so that I can do that from the start?
You do
Because
not
I'm
have to. There is no
oh,
need to do that. There is no need at all. Like I said, on the screen, what you are seeing is a cloud-based Eve. Once you enroll into the course, each one of you will getting a respective link. You simply have to log in and you have all the labs what you want. Okay, so you do not have to do anything on your Windows machine. Clear?
oh, okay. So you just want us to do something on the this networking's labs. That's all, or what?
Whatever you have to do is on this lab, what you're seeing on the screen. And that is something which you will eventually have the access to when you enroll for the course. Okay, so you do not have to worry for the softwares or versions or whatsoever. You do not have to worry.
Oh, okay,
Okay.
got it. Yeah.
Okay. Now see here. One more point. Look on my lab. Look onto the lab. This is the basic lab.
we can't hear you, Rohan.
One minute, guys. I think he's joining back. And guys, meanwhile, I'm Gaurav from networking. So tomorrow we have a class. So make sure you'll join a class from OTT platform for tomorrow.
And the timing, Rohan?
Same 9 a.m. in the morning. Same time what we started today.
Okay,
So will
9
you
to
be sending the link or how it would be?
No. So what you need to do, I'll just show you. Let me open my share my screen. So
Sorry.
1 minute, sir. Let me explain these guys how to join a tomorrow class. So this is the platform. You need to log in here, like ott.nwkings.com. You need to sign up. I'm admin, so I cannot log in. So in the right hand side, you're getting up my profile option, and under the my profile, you're able to see the course name. You need to click on the course. Let's take example. This is the course, and in right hand side, you're able to see the date wise. Like tomorrow is 2nd November. You need to click on the day and like this, and on the same folder there is a link. You need to join the class from there.
Mm, after the class, can I contact you to
Yeah,
like
fine. I'm
just to
sharing my
have a
number,
walk through?
guys. Let me give you guys can note it on my number. It's 7743007118. So anybody facing any issue, they can call me. I'll text in the
And
chat.
what's your name?
Gaurav. I'm sharing here. 1 minute. Let me share in the chat box.
so timing would be 9 to 11.
Correct, sir.
Okay.
My number is in the chat. You can copy, and anybody facing any issue, or if you want to enroll or something, you just contact me. Okay, so Ron sir, over to you now.
Thank you, Gaurav. So let me share my screen again. The screen is visible, right?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay. Okay. So like I was saying that See, my lab structure is simplified. It's pretty easy. PC to router, router to firewall, firewall to the internet, right? So my every lab is designed in a simplest form because, like I said, and I have been saying from past 1 hour is the focus is on the concept, right? So my belief, and that's how I have learned and I have applied and excelled through my career, is if I know how does a PCA is pinging through a router to reach PCB, that means I know how a PCA is traveling through across a complete data center to reach a PCB. I do not need to learn the complete DC for that matter. Okay, the only thing I need to know is ICMP behavior, right? The RFC standards. Keep in mind, every device is bound to follow the RFC standards, right? So how the TCP behaves is exactly same for anyone, whether it's a FortiGate, router, switch, or any other vendor devices, right? It's not that the behavior of a TCP will differ in FortiGate and in Palo or in router or in Cisco or somewhere. It's not like that, right? So the concept matters. So when I will be doing the labs, all the labs will be done by me, every lab. There will be not a single lab that I have not done and I have asked you to do. That is not going to be a single case for that. Everything will be done by me. I will prove that. I will show you the logs, okay? Each line by line, because we need to validate what we have learned in the theory. Simple. So that's how we are going to go with reference to the lab, okay? Clear? Is the doubt around the labs clear?
Yes,
No.
clear, sir.
Okay, now questions come around. What about the command lines? What part of lab I will be doing on CLI? What part I will be doing on the GUI? So answer is it's the mix of both. If you ask me about the troubleshooting, then I would say out of 10, 9 things will be done on the command line. Troubleshooting, command line. Because what command lines will show me, GUI cannot. Yes, GUI logs will give me a quick gist. Okay, what is going on? What happened with that specific user or the traffic? Okay, session ended, but why? Why did the session ended? Right? So when I will take the CLI based logs like debugs and packet captures, that will give me a more granular inside view. So that's why T-shoot part is most likely going to happen on the firewall CLI. Now, there are certain configurations also which you cannot do on the firewall graphics. That means the GUI. So all those configurations will eventually be done with reference to the command line only. That's the only option you have, right? So those things I will be covering that. Now, that being said, okay, now that being said, my motive is not to make you learn command line and never try to learn the command line. Waste of your time and your gray cells. Gray cells means your brain, okay? So don't waste your brain for that, okay? It's a waste because of two reasons. First, even if you try to learn the command lines, you will lose it in a week, maybe in a couple of weeks, but you will lose it, okay? Command lines will come eventually to you when you try to do more and more labs, when you try to replicate certain scenarios or something you are dealing with the firewall. So that is something which you will eventually get used to it. Don't try or don't put your efforts to learn it. Now, second point, I will be sharing my own CLI notes at the end of the batch, which I have made it in terms of, okay, if you are stuck in a high CPU problem, so what are the commands you have to run to collect the outputs? If you are stuck in a VPN related problem, what are the commands you have to run? If you are stuck in a certain situation, then what are the commands you have to collect? Okay, so since I have worked with this firewall more than 6 years, so I know what are the commands that will give you the quick view to see through the problem. Okay, so that is something which I have made the notes of that. Okay, so I will share it to you at the end of the batch. So do not worry for that. So that's why I'm saying do not focus on the CLI command as in such. The focus should be on what is the outcome of those commands. Okay, so what is that command giving you? and how you will make a sense out of that. So that's the focus, okay? So I want you to put your efforts in the concept or in the output of what those commands will give you, rather than learning those commands. And I say this, even if you have forgot the commands, there is nothing to worry about it. Reason behind, you open the Google and just look for the statement CLI reference FortiGate. There is a proper document.
One question.
Yes.
Uh, when we say about like a Fortinet document, okay, it gives us the view of the CLIs, okay, which is generally for like normal administrators or security engineers, right? But when it comes to the TAC, okay, like who are like working on behalf of the company, does the CLIs changes for them? Like
No,
any like
no, CLI is same unless you have got a AAA server applied, where it is controlling which engineer can run what. So that's a different story. But if you are talking about the CLIs and all, it is same for anyone. Okay. I can restrict you that, okay, you cannot run the command starting with show, or you
I got that
cannot run
point.
the
I'm
command
not
starting with the lag.
talking about the accounting authorization, okay,
Uh-huh.
but I'm asking like, is there any different CLIs that the TAC engineer
No,
uses? Okay,
no,
different from.
nothing. It's the same.
Okay, fine, thanks.
It's exactly same. Okay. Okay. So you got my point, right? Now, the next thing is, oh, there is no next thing, right? So we have covered what are the contents we are going to touch, and we have also talked about the lab. Okay. So now coming to the timing of the batches is this is a weekend batch, so it will be Saturday and Sunday, okay, every week, and the class will be for 4 hours, which will be it's like the 4 hours classes will be starting from the next week onwards, not today and tomorrow. Today and tomorrow we are going to have 2 hours of class only. But yes, generally the class will be of 4 hours each from 9 to 1. The pace of the class is entirely dependent upon the batch. You people will decide how and what is the pace that the batch will take. There is no time limit, but yes, on an average, I need 50 plus hours in order to complete the entire course. But like I said, there is no time such limits. You will decide how slow or how quick or how on what pace the batch will move. Now, the next thing is, uh, mm, yes, the breaks and all right. So since the class duration is for the 4 hours, so the breaks is something whenever you want, whenever you guys feel, okay, hey, let's take a break, refreshment, and let's come back. I'm okay with it. Okay, so it's all about you people. You have to learn. So it's your call how you will take up the batch for what is clear. And the timing, what I have mentioned, is in IST format. Okay, so 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. IST. So that's all about the course introduction. If there is something else, let me know. Else we are good to start or talk about initial topic. So I will take that everything is answered. So let's start
One
with the
question.
topic.
One
Yes,
question.
please.
Sorry, Wilke. Since the like a Fortinet firewalls, okay, maybe coming in two variants, right? One is like a hardware-based device, another one will be like a virtual like a
Yes.
operating system which is loaded in the as a guest OS, okay, on
Yes.
top of the like a VMware or some like a servers, right? So
Yes.
when it comes to the issues like uh, like high CPU or memory consumption or
Mhm.
anything sort of that,
Mhm.
okay,
Mhm.
or the issue is happening related to the packet drops
Mhm.
because of the computes, okay,
Mhm.
then how you troubleshoot? Like, do
Okay.
we have any concepts, okay, at the fire like a Fortinet that points out the points out towards the compute or do we need to like analyze it on our own or take some help from the cloud infra people.
Got your point. Now, to reframe his question, so his question is like, if in case we have to troubleshoot anything, slowness or any drop or something, okay, anything related to on-prem firewall, which is a hardware, okay, which you can touch, see, and feel, and the firewall which is on the cloud. Okay, so does the style of T-shoot changes, and if yes, then in like what way? Okay, so that's what his concern was. Now let me answer that. There is absolutely zero changes in the style of troubleshooting. And when I say zero, I stand by it. See, here we are going to learn the FortiGate firewall, which is deployed on the Eve cloud. And if I will turn on the firewall, you will see this is a VM software. This is a virtual firewall. Okay, this is not the hardware, physical and all. Okay. Now, what we are going to do here is exactly what you will do on the physical firewall. Exactly same. Okay, nothing will change. Now, as far as the way to troubleshoot the slowness problem in the traffic or like high CPU problem or whatever the issue is, that remains same, the approach. The only thing changes from a device to device is the configurations, right? But the approach will remain same. Okay. So what are those approaches? Like I said, the mindset, right? So that is something which I will be talking about in the T-shoot classes. And that is applicable no matter which device you are working on. Clear? So there will be no change whether you are working on hardware or you are working on a virtual. And that stands true for any device for that matter.
Understood. Thanks.
Clear?
Yeah, clear.
Okay. Is there anything else? Shall we start?
Yes, please.
Yes.
Okay. So let's just start now. I will talk a small topic, which is actually the first topic of this batch. That is know your firewall, right? The architect of your firewall. Why this is important is because eventually the final motto is to troubleshoot the firewall, right? So if you want to fix something or fix something on a device, you should know the structure of that device. Say, if my car is not taking a self, my car is not starting, so I have to call someone who knows the inside out of my car, right? The mechanic, right? So we are the mechanic of the network devices because we should know the inside out. Because if I do not know where the starter is, or let's say if I put up the key and I start the self or I push the self button to start it, what is happening? The charge is going to the battery, from battery to what to what, how is the fuel injected? So you should know by step, right? Then only you will see that mechanic will come and he will exactly start looking at what he has to, because he knows the flow, that when you are trying to self your car, what is going from what, right? So from first point, second point, third point, fourth point, he's looking onto that. And that's how he'll say, okay, hey man, the problem is here, right? Same thing we have to do. Okay, so for that, we have to be comfortable with our firewall structure. Now, I'm not going to give you, or we do not need to actually know the component details as in such of the hardwares. There are several component details and the codes that is there. But what we need is to get the gist of it, right? So the gist of the block diagram of the FortiGate firewall. So that being said, see here, let me draw quickly and then I will start. Okay. Fine. Okay. This is our AV, IPS, IC, or something else, okay? Some processes. This is our 40 OS, CPU, SPU. Okay, see here, this box is your FortiGate firewall. Okay, so this guy here is your FortiGate firewall. Keep in mind, I will be using the abbreviation FGT in order to represent FortiGate firewall. Now, see what happens is, whenever there is a packet coming to your firewall, the packet needs to be handled by a certain processes, right? Now, if you have to understand the block structure of the FortiGate firewall, the best comparison would be with your desktop or with your laptop, okay? So let's say if I have given you a brand new laptop, which has nothing onto it, nothing, complete blank, no operating system, nothing at all. So can you install Chrome browser onto it? Can you install any application on your laptop without an
No,
operating system?
No.
no,
No. Why?
because there is uh, dependency, that is like operating system should be there,
Why?
unless
I mean, there is no interface actually to do anything. So the most important thing is the interface, I guess, to do anything. Because without the interface, it is just a hardware.
Yes. So so when you say interface, you are like pointing to the operating system, right? So
Correct.
so why there is a dependency?
I mean, that is through which we can actually see what is happening, what command we can do, what can be done, and stuff like that. We
No.
have everything to do from there.
No. See, let me show you why. Take anything, okay, which is running here. Why I'm not showing Chrome? Okay, here it is Chrome, right? You see, what are these? These are Chrome processes, right? What is running? Processes, na? The problem is that the processes, in order to do what it is supposed to do, they need access to the hardware resource. They need a certain CPU computing power. They need a certain memory, right? So that they can execute their functions, right? So processes cannot interact directly with the hardwares. Hardware means CPU, memory, and all. This is why I'm not able to, or no one can install processes directly on the hardware. When I say processes, that means applications. What are applications? When you install a Chrome, a certain process is executed. When I open the browser, a certain process is executed. No matter what you do, behind the scene, a certain process is executed. You are opening a Zoom process would be running somewhere. Okay, so whatever you do, see, I have connected my mouse onto this, my keyboards. See, a certain process is running. Got it? So the processes needs the access to certain CPU and memory, which they cannot have. That's where the operating systems come in play. Operating system, like someone rightly mentioned, it's an interface which will help the processes to interact with the hardware. Clear? Make sense? What I'm saying? Clear with that statement? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, so see, here, these are the processes: AV process, IPS process, IC process related to the VPN, DSCP-C, DSCP-S, DSCP relay are the processes related to the DSCP, DNS proxy process, FNB, AMD for the authentications, and there are many more such processes: IPS engine, IPS monitor, okay, AV process, okay, so that there are a lot of processes, URL filter processes, okay, so all these processes, which is supported by the firewall, cannot execute itself because it needs a certain CPU and memory resource to do what it is supposed to do. In order to help the processes to interact with the hardware, that is CPU and the memory here, we need FortiOS. That's what you are seeing, is that the processes are interacting with the FortiOS, that is the operating system of the FortiGate firewall, and FortiOS is helping them to interact with the hardware. Clear? Bi-directional flow. So the block structure is clear? Okay. Now, see, let me give you a little insight about the operating system in the FortiGate firewall. So like I said, the operating system in the FortiGate firewall is FortiOS. Okay. So the OS has been starting from 3.0 series, and it has now been up to 7.8. The software up to 6.4, or if I'm not wrong, 6.4 is still in the play. So it's like the software before the 6.4 has been out of support. Out of support means that if in case you are using those softwares still, then if in case there is a buggy behavior found out, or there is some vulnerability identified regarding those softwares, Fortinet does not own any responsibility to give you a fix for that, okay, because it is out of support. So if you are running on the 6.4 and above versions, you are entitled to receive regular updates and fixed patches from the Fortinet. Okay. Now, that being said, while the FortiOS development phase, the major leap was from 6.2 to 6.4. Okay. So when the 6.4 was published, it contained 300 plus new features as compared to their predecessors. So what you had in 6 or till up to 6.2, you add 300 plus features inside that, and you have your 6.4. And in 6.4 only, the major change in the GUI graphics also happened. So if you will see anyone running on version which is below the 6.4, you will completely be wow to know that, hey man, this is entirely different what I am seeing now. Okay, so there's a complete change of a style. Okay, so that's why from 6.4 onwards, your focus should be. Now, that being said, now see here, the operating system, of course, you have two ways in the it's like how you will be having onto your hardware is, one is freeware with the freeware license, that is the standalone license, which is only valid for 15 days, 1-5. Okay. And if in case you buy a license, then of course, based upon your license, the firewall will be able to give you all the functions for whatever the period that you have bought the license for. Okay. Now, see here. So now your firewall also needs to be updated on the real-time basis. When I say that, see, the thing is, let's say somewhere in the North American region, someone, okay, some company or some user who is behind my firewall, it has come across a zero-day virus or a malware or some attacks. Okay, so what happens is, if that is been identified by the FortiGuard, then FortiGuard will sync up that information with all the Fortinet products across the globe, okay, in the real time, so that my other customers are not impacted. Keep in mind, this is the structure which is a cloud-based. So FortiGuard is nothing but the stacks of servers. Okay, you can think it of a data centers which is located across the globe on the key locations, and it gives cloud-based services to all its licensed devices. FortiGuard is responsible to provide the latest database of URLs, domains, IPs, ratings, threats, antivirus database, okay, attack database, whatever is there. If there is something new in the market, your firewall will know it. So the job is with the FortiGuard. By default, your firewall is always in sync with the FortiGuard. Every 1 hour, your firewall will try to check with the FortiGuard, hey, do we have something new? If yes, give that to me. Okay. Now, your FortiGuard is not only there to sync up the databases, but it is also there to assist the firewall in order to do its job in a better way. For an example, FortiGuard can act as an NTP server. FortiGuard can also act as an DNS. FortiGuard can also allow you to host your firewall mapped to a domain name. Domain name means like google.com or something like that, right? So you can host your firewall on some domain name. I can tell, okay, hey, my firewall name is xyz.fgt.com. Okay, so whatever is your public IP, the DNS record will be automatically be pushed to the global record by the FortiGuard. You do not have to worry onto it. So FortiGuard is there to assist you in a lot of other ways, and which is something which you will eventually see and learn when we are learning the entire firewall. Okay, so let me show you what do I mean by real-time database and updates. So if I access FortiGuard here, so see here. Like one example, I will show you web filtering. Let me show you that. So you can see
Rohan, how did you go here into this FortiGate Labs? Is
FortiGate Labs.
that's a service or what? Is a website or what is this? I didn't get that.
This one.
Is that, I mean, like I can also go there, right?
Yes, anyone can. This is a public available information.
Okay.
You
Would
just
you mind
access
sharing all
FortiGuard.
these links because I'm pretty new into this actually.
FortiGuard.com, that's all. You just search for the FortiGuard and you will get it. But okay, let me share it on the chat as well.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so see here. Over 500 million URLs or the websites has been categorized, right? So for example, your requirement is, hey, I want to block the websites which falls under the category of terrorism. Okay, terrorist websites must be blocked. Something related to the hacking must be blocked. Something related to, let's say, something bad. Okay. So what you are gonna do in that case? You will simply select that specific category and right-click block, gone. Now, if anyone is trying to access the website which is part of this category, the action will be blocked. Okay, so I will talk about these more things when I'll touch the UTM features, but for now, I'm just giving you a gist of it. Now, see here, the real thing what I was talking about is, see the FortiGuard has been able to block these many spam, or you can say phishing or the malicious URLs that has been identified and blocked by the FortiGuard itself till this point. Okay, and each day it is handling 150,000 new threats. It's not the known one, it's the new threats. Okay, so that's what the FortiGuard is capable of. Now, you can see the database. This is what I was talking about. So see in the last 25 minutes, if you will see, there has been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 database release, right? And every time the database is getting released, you are seeing something is added, something is modified, right? That means it's a continuous process. And you being a end user, you do not have to worry for it because your firewall will automatically sync up and it will receive the latest database. Yes, Parvez.
How FortiGuard getting this data? I mean, who's giving to FortiGuard?
So there is a team called PSIRT. Okay, this is, or in general terms, we call it as an IPS team. Okay, so they are the people who are analyzing all these. There are several watchers, that would be the right word. There are several watchers who maintains their respective database. Okay, and these are the watchers which has been authorized by the IANA service. IANA is the entity which actually owns the internet. Okay, so he like decides the rules and regulations around it. So there are several databases which are maintained by the IANA and its subsidiaries. Okay, So whenever there is something new over the internet, they will have that listed on that database. Now, what the FortiGuard is doing is, FortiGuard team, it's like whatever the PSIRT team is sitting there, that is it's like they will constantly sync up with those databases to know what are the new domains in the market, what is the new IP, which IP has been tagged with what, geolocations and everything. So there is a proper search engine, sorry, there is a proper process engines, or you can say an AI ML codes that has been analyzing those data, and they are the ones who are giving the verdict. Okay, hey, this is part of this category, this is part of that, and all that, and this is how you are getting these results as an like final outputs. Okay, so there is a lot of things which is going behind the scene on the FortiGuard, which is actually handled by the threat analyst and the PSIRT team.
PSRT, you said?
PSIRT.
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 Okay, PSIRT.
Okay.
Yeah, this is
This, in like
security
simple terms, it
incident
is an
response
IPS
team,
team.
right?
Sorry?
Security incident report team, right? Means,
Ha.
Okay.
Okay. So if you want to view it in a broader term, in a like layman term, it's an IPS team. Okay. Now, so there are a lot of services what the FortiGuard is capable to give you that. Okay, so it can identify and protect you. Okay, and this is why FortiGate is one of the safest firewall in the market. Okay, the best. Now, coming back, so see here. So your firewall is like constantly receiving or sending a certain query to the FortiGuard asking, hey, tell me the ratings and all that. Okay, so FortiGuard is helping the firewall to do its job in a better fashion. Okay.
I have a very quick question, if you don't
Yes,
mind.
yes.
Just 1 second question. Is this FortiGuard is similar to the Windows update? Like we keep receiving updates if there is something.
Similar to that, yes.
Okay, that's great. Yeah, thanks.
Similar to that. Okay. And see, it's not only the Fortinet. Every vendor has its own similar kind of setup. Okay. Every vendor. You might have heard that your device has received a new patch fix or some patch or some update, database has been refreshed, right? So every vendor has it. Okay.
That's
It's
true.
all
That's true.
about who has the better way to grasp something new. That's where the race is. Okay.
Yes, yes, exactly. That you are very correct. Yes.
Now see. Now, when your firewall is receiving a packet, it is processing it, right? And then it is finally sending it out. That's how it would be working, right? Now, the thought is, what did the firewall do? When the firewall received a packet, what did he do? Something would have been done, right? So the time what the firewall took in order to process the packet and send it out, that duration or that process, okay, we call it as life of packet. Life of packet inside the firewall. Okay. So when a packet was received, firewall did something, then it took a call whether to send it out or whether to drop it, right? So whatever it did, those processes are called life of packet. Okay. And that is very vital to know, because if we know that, believe me, it's piece of cake to configure the firewall and do the basic troubleshooting. Piece of cake. Because you will exactly know where and what to look for. So let me explain you that. And this is something, this life of packet concept is something which I will be using throughout the course. So believe it or not, at the end of the course, you will eventually learn it. Okay. So life of packet. See, so when the firewall receives a packet, since the packet is coming onto the firewall on that a specific interface, we will call that interface as ingress. Ingress, or you can call it incoming interface, because I am receiving the packet. Makes sense, right? Ingress. Okay. Now, when it receives it, what does it do? First thing, there is something which it means like every device does. There is an EOP process which every device has to follow. So I'm not going to talk about that as of this moment. That is something which I will talk when I will touch the cluster. Okay. But I'm talking specific to the FortiGate firewall. Okay. Not in like general to any device. So when the firewall receives a packet, what does it do? First, it does integrity check. Okay, integrity check. What do I mean by integrity check? See, if someone is, now you might have seen that, or you might have heard certain news is that someone ordered something, an iPhone or something, and when he received the parcel, when he opened that, he found a brick or a stone or a tiles inside it, right? You might have heard of it, right? That means the content inside the parcel have been changed, right? So see, in order to overcome such problems, what the companies were facing, what they introduced two things. Hey, when someone is giving you the parcel, they will ask you for the OTP that I have given you that parcel, right? Okay. Second is open at the door, verify on the door itself. You can open the seal in front of the delivery guy and try to check whether the packet is safe or not. Correct the parcel, whatever the content inside is safe or not, right? That process is what, why are you doing that? To confirm integrity of the product, what has been parceled or what has been sent to you. A simple, or you want to take a simple comparison more than that. So let's say you went to a medical shop and you asked for a cough syrup or any syrup for that matter. Now, when that guy, which is known to you, that's always the shop where you used to go and where you still go. So let's say he is the guy who says, hey man, take this syrup. Okay, this is a good one. Now you saw that the seal of that bottle is broken. Will you accept it? No. Why? Because in the back of mind, what is the thought process? If the seal is broken, that means the content inside the bottle might have been compromised. That's why we are not accepting that broken seal bottle, right? So what was that seal for? Integrity. When you see the seal on that bottle, that gives you a comfort, okay, hey, whatever is inside that bottle is absolutely secure and safe, right? Integrity. Same thing is here, okay? When the firewall receives a packet, he needs to confirm whether the content or the packet itself has not been modified or altered in any other way. How would he do that? Tell me. How would he do that? Any guesses?
Some kind of checksum.
Yes, where?
At the
Headers.
interfaces, I guess.
Headers, not interfaces, headers. See here. I believe everyone might have heard the word OSI.
Yeah.
OSI model.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, right.
You might know layer 7 to layer 1,
Yes.
right? When it comes to network, the network is from layer 4, layer 3, layer 2, and then layer 1. This is the network part.
Yeah.
Layer 7 to 5 is your application related part, right? Session
Yes.
layer and presentation layer. These are things which the coders decide. Okay. Now, the point is, what I'm emphasizing on is, see, whenever you try to send a packet, your packet will be created in this way. That means first layer 7 will be added, then layer 4, then layer 3, then layer 2, then layer 1. Got it? That's how the packet is generated. But when someone receives the packet, okay, anyone who is receiving the packet, he will start reading the information from layer 1 to layer 7. Clear?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, see. So what happens is layer 1 is nothing but the frame, that header frame, bits, bytes, okay, bits and 0, 1. So that is restructured and then the packet is looked inside. So what is the major protocol of layer 2? What is the major protocol of layer 2?
It
So
will deal with
analog.
MAC
IP.
address.
IP address.
Layer 2.
Layer 2 frames MAC address. It will deal with.
MAC address is
Ethernet.
the Ethernet MAC.
Ethernet, MAC. Frame is for layer 1. Okay, major protocol. What is the major protocol of layer 3?
IP.
IP. What is the major protocol for layer 4?
Protocols.
TCP,
TCP.
TCP and UDP. Now, please, someone who is new to this or anyone, focus. I'm not saying what is the protocol of layer 3 or layer 2 or layer 4. I use the term major protocol, because if I say ICMP is a layer 3 protocol, that's true, right? ICMP is a layer 3 protocol. OSPF is a layer 3 protocol, correct? Right now, but they are minor protocol. Major protocol means the protocols who are responsible to carry the others. See, keep in mind, layer 7 always decides what will be used at layer 4. Layer 7 will decide that. Okay, whether I will be using TCP or UDP. Like for example, let's take a layer 7 example. So layer 7 protocols examples are what? HTTP, HTTPS, DNS, DSCP, SMB, BGP, right? Whatever, it's like Telnet, SSH, whatever protocols you are seeing most likely are going to be in L7, and they are taking a call now. Like if I'm using HTTPS, so HTTPS is carried by TCP at layer 4, right? If I'm using DNS, then it is carried by UDP at layer 4. Makes sense what I'm saying, right? SMB port 445, it is carried by TCP at layer 4. So who is deciding whether I will be using TCP or the UDP at layer 4? That is layer 7. So keep in mind, TCP and UDP is the major protocol which is carrying minor. Minor means HTTP, HTTPS and all that. Okay. Now, when we talk about the layer 3, so layer 3 major protocol is IP. Okay. But if I'm working on the protocol like OSPF, ESP, right, or IPs, so these are layer 3 minor protocols. Why? Because OSPF is carried by IP header. ESP is carried by IP header. ICMP is carried by IP header. Okay, so that's why I'm saying IP is the major protocol, whereas ESP, OSPF, and ICMP is the minor protocol. Same goes true for layer 2. Ethernet, that's the major protocol. That means if anything has to be carried on the layer 2, it's the responsibility of Ethernet to carry that. For an example, ARP, Address Resolution Protocol. So ARP is a layer 2 protocol. Why we say that? Because ARP is carried by whom? Ethernet. That's why we say that ARP is a layer 2. Why I'm saying that ICMP is a layer 3? Because ICMP is carried by IP header. So makes sense the difference between the term major and the minor?
So ARP also comes under the minor protocol.
Layer 2. Yes, ARP is a minor protocol because it is carried by Ethernet.
True.
Okay, ARP cannot go by itself. It needs the help of Ethernet. Okay, so these are the major protocols. Okay, so if you know these three now, you know the entire network. And I will give you the, like I was saying that in the T-shoot classes, I will give you the mindset. This is the mindset what I was talking about. See, okay, I will not go into that else I get carried away in that troubleshooting thing. That is something which I will talk in the T-shoot classes. Okay, so let's come back here. So what happens is in the integrity check, you check for any. Let's start with the Ethernet header. Okay, Ethernet header. See, Ethernet header has a CRC check sequence Hannah, do you see that? Frame check CRC. What is the purpose of this 4-byte field? To confirm the integrity of the layer 2. Let's check the IP header. Take any major protocol headers, okay? See here. There is a header checksum, 16-bit value. What is the purpose of this? To confirm the integrity of the IP header, that nothing has been modified. Let's check TCP, layer 4. See, TCP will also have something similar to that. Checksum, 16-bit value. See that? Let's check UDP. See, UDP. Checksum 2-byte value in the header, right? So every major protocol headers will carry a checksum value. So the job of the checksum value is to confirm the integrity. Think in this way, okay? Let's say I have sent you a parcel, okay? And I'm telling you, hey, the parcel what I have sent you is weighing 5 grams, okay? Now, when you get a parcel, let's say you have received the parcel after a day or two. Now what you did is you weighed it. Because I have told you, okay, hey, the weight of the parcel is 5 grams. Okay, so you weighed it. Now the weight is coming around 5.2 or maybe 4.8. So you know something has been taken out or something has been added. In simple words, something has been changed in your parcel, right? Integrity check failed. That means someone has modified it. Okay, so it's in that way. That's what the seal of that bottle stands for. Okay. Now, integrity check is not only about the confirmation or ensuring that the content is not altered. It is also about to check the packets, that whether the packets that I have received is actually in the RFC standard format. What do I mean by RFC standard format? See here. Let's say I have got a packet which has the source 192.10 and destination as 192.10. Do you think this is a legitimate packet where the source IP and destination IP in the packet is same?
No,
Is
no.
this a legitimate packet? No, it's not a legitimate packet. The RFC standards does not define this, that, okay, hey, the source and destination IP can be same. Okay, so this is not a legitimate packet. So if your packet is breaching the structure as per what has been defined by the RFC standards as how a packet should look like, what can be the maximum size of each and every field, if it is defying any one of that, the packet is discarded. And these drops, when the packets will be dropped by the firewall at the interface level, you will see it in the interface counters. No debug, no packet capture will show you that. Only the interface counters. In the interface counters, you will see TX and RX drops, errors. Okay, so these things are pointing to that. Okay, so now let's say the integrity check is passed, right? Then what? Then the firewall will do captive authentication. Okay, so pardon me for my writing. That's how I write. I'm not a good writer. Okay, but it makes sense, right? Captive authentication. Now, so captive authentication concept is, this is something which I will show you in the lab, but for now, just get a gist of it. So captive authentication is like firewall is asking, hey, stop, first tell me who you are. If you authenticate yourself successfully, then you are allowed to go, else deny. Okay, so this is an optional configuration. You may or may not want to configure captive. The example of captive authentication is like, for example, for the guest accounts, or maybe like you walk into some cafes, some lounges, right? Or in some public places where you see free Wi-Fi's, right? So what happens is there is a free Wi-Fi, that's true, but can you simply connect to it and like access the network? No. When you will try to connect to their SSIDs, they will ask you, okay, hey, enter your phone numbers, or the hotels will tell you to enter the room numbers, right? Something they will ask you to enter, right? So that they can track exactly who you are. Okay, so that's what the captive authentication stands for. So this is something, there's a separate lab for it, which I will be doing it, but That's the topic to be covered in the next classes. Now, let's say the captive authentication is passed, then what? Then your firewall will be doing or checking for DNAT. That do I have a DNAT rule? DNAT means destination NAT. Okay. So if yes, then the firewall will translate the destination IP or the destination port, depending upon what you have configured. If no, then it will bypass this. And then what it will check? It will check for RPF and routing lookup. Interesting, right? Now see, keep in mind, RPF is done before the routing lookup. Now what is RPF? So let's understand this. What is RPF? Okay, see this. Whenever there is a packet, so it will have a source IP and it will have a destination IP, right? Now keep in mind, when the routing lookup is done, for source IP, then such routing lookup is called what? Forward lookup. Oh, sorry, my bad. It's called reverse lookup. Got it? When the routing lookup is done for the destination IP, then such a routing lookup is called forward lookup. There are two types of routing lookup. One which is done for the source IP, one it is done for the destination IP. Okay. Now see, the name itself tells that if I'm doing the routing lookup for the destination IP, that means I am trying to find out how to send the packet in the forward direction out. Correct. That's why we call it forward lookup. If I'm doing the routing lookup for the source, that means I want to know how I will deal with the reply traffic. Because when the reply will be there, when there will be a reply packet, so whatever was the source, that will be in the destination part. Right now? Yes or no? Like the source was here 192.10 and destination was 172.20. So if I am getting a response, so that response will be coming from 172.20 and reply would be, and the destination would be 192.10, right? So whatever was source here, that is destination IP here, na? Yes or no?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
That's why we are saying it that it's a reverse lookup. When I'm doing the routing lookup for the source IP, that means I am trying to find out how to tackle with the reply packet. Reply means in the reverse direction. Makes sense? Okay. So now if we know these concepts, then see here. So like I said, reverse lookup is always done first. And if reverse lookup path is or check is pass, okay, when this is passed, then only it will do the forward lookup, else the packet will be dropped. Now, why the device is doing reverse lookup? Why? To avoid a spoof attack. This way you can stop a spoof attack. How? Let's see. So presume there is a router. Okay, there is a router which has 4 interfaces. Okay. Now, let's say the interface is like port 1. This is port 4. This is port 2. This is port 3, like that. Okay. So what happens is there is a routing table. And the routing table says that if you want to go to the network 192.168.1.0/24, go out via port 1. Okay. Other static route says, okay, hey, if you want to go out to 172.16.1.0/24, please go out via port 2. The other one says, okay, hey, if you want to go to 10.1.1.0/24, please go out via port 3, right? And the next one says default route. Okay, hey man, if you want to go anywhere, please go out via port 4. Okay, that's the routing table what they have. Clear? Now, presume there is a packet which is coming on the port 1. There's a packet, okay? So that packet has a certain source IP and the destination. Let's deal with that. Let's say the source is something called 172.16.1.10, who wants to go to 192.168.1.10. Now, when this packet is reaching on the port 1, what the port 1 will do? It will do the reverse.
Packet, it will check. First, it will check for the source from where it
Yes.
is coming
Yes. So,
and
so
where
it
it
will
wants to
do,
go.
correct. So it will do the reverse lookup for the source IP. So when he will do the routing lookup for this source IP, what he will find? That this IP is behind. That if I need to reach this IP, then how I will reach?
Via port 2.
Via port 2. So now the router is thinking, okay, hey man, tell me one thing. If this IP is reachable via port 2, then how come I am getting the packet from that IP on the port 1? Doubtful, no? Because that network was behind port 2, right? So if 172.16.1.10 source is sending the packet, it would have actually be coming from here, right? Not
Right.
from the port 1. So that means someone is trying to spoof the packet. This is called spoofing. Okay, so I am trying to spoof a packet into your network. So because reverse lookup check failed, the firewall or the router, if it supports that, he will discard that packet, saying RPF check failed. So there is no need to perform the destination IP lookup. No need. Okay, makes sense what I'm saying?
Yes.
Okay, now, so this is why your RPF lookup is done first and then followed by the destination IP lookup. That is the routing lookup. Now, let's say your RPF check passed and you also have the route for the destination. In that case, then the next thing what the firewall will do is policy lookup. So it will try to match, do I have a policy for this incoming traffic? If yes, then what is the action? There can only be two actions. Either you will allow or you will deny that. Okay, let's say there is a policy and it's match and the action is allow, then he will move further. But if there is no policy, then automatically it will match with a policy number 0, which is implicit deny policy, and the packet will be dropped. So keep in mind, you must have the policy to allow the traffic, else it will deny. Now, so let's say we had the policy which says allow, then what happens? Then the next thing is it will try to check for, or it will try to perform NGFW actions and UTM. NGFW action means, and UTM in like combination means the firewall will now try to inspect the traffic. When I say inspect, it means the firewall will try to look inside the packets. It will read everything that is inside the packet. And based upon that, it will then apply the UTM features if in case you have configured it. So based upon whatever the configuration you have for applied for the UTM, it will either allow the traffic or it will either deny the traffic. If in case you have not configured the UTM, then it will simply bypass and move to the next one. Okay. What is the next it will do? It will perform SNAT. It will check, is there any SNAT configuration? If yes, then he will translate the source IP or the source port. Now, the next what it will do? It will perform traffic shaping. Okay, so it will perform traffic shaping next. Traffic shaping. If in case you have configured the traffic shaper, it will shape your traffic, else it will bypass this step. Okay. And then finally, it will send the packet out. Okay, so it will send the packet out. Since the packet has been sent out from the interface, hence I'm calling this interface as egress, from where the packet is being leaving. So here the packet was incoming, there the packet is leaving. Clear? Clear?
Understood.
Yes, sir.
So
Now,
can we take it as a proper packet flow of this in the FortiGate firewall, right, sir?
I will show you this exactly in the lab.
Okay.
Okay, do not worry, as I stand by my words. What you do not see in the lab, you do not have to believe me. That's how the class will go. Okay, everything needs to be seen in the lab. Now, okay, yes. Now, since we know around all this, so let's take a step back and talk about the 40, almost like the structure here. So here you see the CPU, right? CPU and SPU. So there is a general layman question that I have from the customer point of view. Let's take that into account. Okay. It's a very simple question. The question is that my sales team was trying to sell the FortiGate firewall to the customer, and the customer listened to all the good things about my device. My sales team was really bragging. This is how good the firewall is, all that, this and that. Okay, so he was really boasting. So customer said, okay, fine. I accept all your words that your firewall is the best. But tell me one thing. Currently, I have a router, which you are asking me to replace with your firewall, right? So currently I have a router, and when I send the traffic, so the router is typically doing major actions like it is doing the policy action, it is doing the natting action, it is doing some authentications, it is doing some routing. Okay, so these are the major actions what my router is doing. So just for the sake of an argument, let's presume that every process to the best is taking 1 second of the time. So total time taken by the router to process the packet and send it out was 4 seconds. Make sense? If I say that every process is taking 1 second time.
Yeah, right.
Now,
No. It's in microseconds, I think.
no, I'm not dealing in microsecond. I'm just saying, just for the sake of an argument, let's take in that number. Okay. You want to take it milliseconds, microseconds, you deal with that, not a problem. Okay, 4 microseconds, 4 milliseconds. My point is 4 processes, 4 seconds. Okay. Now, if you are saying me that whatever the router did, your firewall will also do that, correct? That's what you saying. It's like you are emphasizing on. And since you are saying that it's not only about these basic function, but since you have bought the firewall, so I will also give you the features like inspection, right? I will give you that feature. I will also give you the features of IPS. I will give you the features of antivirus. I can give you the feature of web filter. I can give you the feature of application control and all that, right? To give you more security on your network. Fine. Okay. So with the same analogy, if I am sending the packet, so your firewall took how much time? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 seconds to process and send the packet out. So are you suggesting me that if I buy your device, that will have latency of 5 seconds more in my network? You are adding 5 seconds more to my network, right? Or 5 milliseconds or microseconds, whatever is the measurement value.
Yes.
That's what you are saying? Are you saying me that? If yes, do you know what business I deal with? I am in retail business. I am in finance. I deal in stocks. These delay will kill my business, right? Why I will buy your FortiGate firewall? Simple, right? Why I will buy your device?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Yeah, that logically, yeah, that is if we say the customer the capacity of for FortiGate firewall, yeah, that's wrong, yeah. But the so special is the firewall, maybe another device also. When we send a bunch of packet, only they will check the first packet, and they will make a stream, and they will not check another packet, okay, because of wasting time.
That is true. That is
Yeah,
absolutely
because
true.
of that.
But to deal with the first packet also, you are taking 5 seconds more, right?
But maybe that is the another device does not have this
Features.
capacity yet.
Yes, yes. That is one argument best that is true. But what you said now is actually the method used to deal with the CPU load. Okay, which I will come to that point. But you are right. But see, my concern is if I take your argument for that also, then the first packet took 5 seconds more in order to get processed, right? Okay.
Yeah, it's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's right.
Yeah. So
If
see, the point
compare
is,
this, yeah,
what if? See, what if my firewall somehow is capable to do all these things within the same 4 seconds? Then this would have been something which the customer would be running to buy it, right? That what your router is doing in 4 seconds, I will give you double of that functions without any adding latency. If somehow I'm able to achieve that, it's really a sales pitch point for me, right?
So
Okay.
it means like in a single inspection, it will do all these functions, right, sir?
Let me tell you how. Let me tell you.
Can I say something? Is
Yes,
it like
please.
the router is doing like a serial, like a process, like all the functions in
Yes,
serial way?
yes, 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 yes.
And
Okay,
if we do the same thing via the firewall in a parallel processing, then it may achieve the same results in 4 seconds.
correct. That's where the triple P model comes into play. So your FortiGate firewall follows a model that is triple P. Triple P stands for parallel packet processing. Now, how does this do? How does this help me to mitigate that latency cost because of more processes? How? See, when a packet is sent to the firewall, what the FortiGate firewall does it duplicates the packet. It duplicates the packet. And then it will send the 2 packets inside the firewall to process it. You know to whom he sends it. He sends to CP and NP processor. CP stands for content processor, NP stands for network processor. Now, just hold on to the CP and NP part till this point. Let me come back to the life of packet. See, actually, if you look closely, okay, if you look closely, integrity check, captive authentication, DNAT, routing lookup, policy lookup, UTMs, SNAT, traffic shaping, don't you think that everything except UTM can be done by the router also? Routing, policy lookup, authentication, integrity check is also
It
done
can
by
be
the
done.
router, na?
It can be done.
What is separating a firewall from the router? NGFW and UTM features, right? Correct?
Yeah, right.
Because all these things, rest all, whatever that was, these, this one is router functionality, right? So, in other words, keep in mind, every process was dependent upon the CPU. Actually, My main CPU, okay, there are two types of CPUs, okay? Let me talk about that as well. See here, there are two types of CPU that is inside the FortiGate firewall. That is main CPU and hardware CPU. Your main CPU has two components, CP and NP. Okay. So what happens is your NP processor, that is network processor, is responsible to perform all these actions. Okay. And your CP processor is responsible to perform next gen and UTL. See, what was the delay? The delay was, see, this part from here to here was actually done by the NP. Who was doing this? NP, na? The additional delay that was getting caused was because of this guy.
The inspection, the firewall management.
Inspections and all, right? This one. So what my FortiGate is doing is, he is duplicating the packet. He duplicated the packet. Same packet, duplicated. And he sent one packet to the CP, one packet to the NP, so that when the NP is processing, at the same time, CP is also ready with his verdict. Clear? So CP never took a time. The moment what the NP took, the 4 second, CP was also ready within that 4 second. Hence, within the same 4 second, the firewall was ready with its verdict, whether to send the packet out or drop it. Make sense?
Yes, yes.
Right? So this is what the triple P model stands for. Now, do you see a problem in this? Did it really help me to address the latency problem? If you watch closely, the answer is no. Why? Because think in this way. If you assume, let's say I'm watching YouTube video, okay, a 5 minutes YouTube video clip. So during that time, between my machine and the YouTube server, presume 10,000 packets were exchanged, okay, as a data payload. Now, if the firewall is in between and you are duplicating those packets, that means now it has become 10,000 packets, 5 to 10, right? Double. Yes, no. So where my CPU was supposed to handle 5,000, now it is handling 10,000 packets. So think it in the production. Production, I am getting, let's say 10 lakh packets. You doubled it. It became 20 lakh. So my CPU is getting overloaded if in case there's a high amount of traffic coming, right? And if my CPU is overloaded, that will have an adverse effect on the device performance. As a result, there will be a latency into the network. So we are back to a square one, right? So how is this really dealing with that overload? So that's where, like someone rightly mentioned, that the firewall is only responsible to handle first packet. So actually this duplicacy didn't happen for all the traffic. No, it only happened for the first packet. And you know what? This action, life of packet, which is done by the main CPU, as you can see, it is done by whom? Main CPU. But he is only doing it for first packet. This is not done for every packet. No. Only the first packet, because if I know how to deal with the first packet, then whatever packet that follows the same session will be dealt in the same manner. So I don't need to do every time routing lookup, DNAT check, and policy lookup and all that. I know how to deal it with, right? Because my device is creating a session. So see, when your main CPU processes the first packet, it creates a entry. It makes a note. Okay, hey, as per the route, this is that. As per the policy, it is matching with rule number 2. Action is allow. We have to do the SNAT. So change the source IP to this, source port to this, destination IP to this. So he is making a note of everything. And that note of main CPU is called what?
Session table.
Session, where he has exactly written what has to be done if in case this packet is coming. And this session is actually handed off to whom?
Hardware CPU.
Hardware CPU is also called as NPU, or in
Network.
simple words or in general word, you will see it called as ASIC. Okay, hardware acceleration. So now main CPU is free. He is free to handle new first packet. Okay, because whatever he has handled, and if something is following that, hardware CPU will take care of it because I have told him what to do. So he is simply following what I have told him. So there is no spike. Okay, and that's why the CPU is at minimal usage and your firewall is handling the traffic no matter how high it is in a ease. Okay. So this is how I can give you the best of my or best of your network without adding any latency of whatsoever. Okay, that is almost negligible. Okay, and with the more secured features. So now,
One thing, when you say like the session table is handed over to the hardware CPU,
yes,
so the additional processing time, the next packet arrives, okay,
Mm.
it reduces further, right? Because your
Yes.
like your CPU will be only into the play to check the policies, like means a hardware like a UTM policies.
Which one? Hardware
Since this
CPU?
table is hardware CPU will only check the like the session table, and
Yes.
once it is allowed, okay, this
Mm.
part cleared, okay, so
Mhm.
there is no further processing at this level, right?
Yes, correct.
So only the UTM part will be left, which will be taken care by the CP.
By
So
the
the latency
CPS.
of the packet will further reduce, right?
Yes. Because see, as far as the UTM features is concerned, now the CP is the component of the main CPU, which is whose job is only to track and like identify the threats into the traffic, right?
Yeah,
Okay, but your packet processing is not getting delayed. And since CP has given that verdict also, so hardware CPU exactly knows what to do with it. So there is no lag. Now in the debug, when I will show you now, you will see that all these actions are done for the first packet. You will see that, okay, all these actions. But for the next packet, you will see that it is saying fast forward. You will see that word fast forward. Okay, fast forward means hardware CPU has simply said, okay, this is matching with this session. Okay, as per what the instructions is written, I have made that change, send it out. Fast forward. There is no need to check and or like see anything else. Got it?
understood.
Okay, so that's what this is. Clear?
So router will not maintain such type of tables, right?
No, router
Like a
maintains the
session.
session. No. Router also maintains the session. Router maintains that. But the point is not of the session. The point is that router and the firewall difference was this part, right?
Yeah, right.
So firewall was giving you more functions as compared to router. So if there is no duplicate or like triple P method, then the latency or the process, the time taken by the FortiGate to process will be higher as compared to the router, right? Because it is doing more task.
Yeah,
Okay.
right.
So in order to mitigate that, we had got the triple P model where I am duplicating the packet and I am sending one packet to the NP, one packet to the CP processor, right?
Yeah,
Okay. So that's the thing. Clear?
yeah, clear.
So this completes our basics or it's like know how your firewall works. The block diagram is structured. If you know this, the key takeaway for today's topic is life of packet. As I said, now it clearly gives you the view that, okay, hey, so now let's put it in this way. If I ask you, what is the minimum configuration that you need to do in order to allow a network through your firewall? So see, this is optional. This is integrity check, which is done by default. Captive authentication is optional. DNAT is optional. It is mandatory. This is mandatory. This is optional. This is optional. This is optional. So minimum configuration that I need is I must have a route and I must have a policy. See, It's that easy to determine. Clear?
Yes. Yeah, understood.
Okay. And if you are doing the troubleshooting, you exactly know where to start from and what you have to look at. So this is something which, like I said, I will be using throughout the batch. So you will get hands-on to it. So that's all. I rest my case here. And let's catch up tomorrow. Okay, 9 to so tomorrow the class will only be the 2 hours, but for the upcoming weeks we will have 4 hours of class. Okay.
Okay.
Rohan sir, just
Yes, please.
uh, for you can give me some inputs like what topics you're going to cover tomorrow.
Tomorrow
Like yeah,
yeah,
like
sure.
we'll get some basic. We'll search an
Of,
internet and we'll get
of
basic
course.
things.
Of
It will
course.
be very helpful during the course.
Sure. See, tomorrow I'm going to touch, or like I will actually show you how to bring up the firewall in the lab, because that's where we will start learning the firewall, right? So I will show you how to bring up the firewall, and then we will start learning the basics of the firewall, like how we are going to upgrade the firewall, how we are going to downgrade the firewall, how we are going to administratively manage the firewall, what are the common settings of the FortiGate firewall. So these are the basic things what we are going to cover.
Okay, so we'll take it as basic firewall management.
Yes, basics firewall
Okay.
management. Okay.
Okay. Thanks.
Fine.
So
Thank you.
one thing, sir. So we can find, sir. Hello.
Yes, yes. Yes, tell me.
So
Tell
we can
me.
find any. For today's class, we'll find any recording sessions so
Yes,
that if I
everything
miss
is
any point.
recorded. Everything is recorded, and you will see that recorded video in your student portal, okay, which is
Sure.
accessible at per your convenience.
Right, sir. Thank you.
And sir, one more question. I have one doubt. For example, in firewall, which port we are considering as a ingress and which port we are considering as a egress? This is a doubt with me. I mean, when we are talking in firewall, it is ingress and it is egress. Which port we are considering and how? For example, I am user. I am accessing the interface laptop. Whatever I'm access, for example, I'm access the Google. Okay, my traffic will go to the switch, then it will go to the firewall internal port, then it will go to the ISP, and it will go to the internet. It's like this. Can you please just explain for my concept?
See, whenever you do any configuration, okay, there is one question that you should always ask before you do any config on any device for that matter. That question is, what is the direction of the first packet? Okay, this is something which you should always be aware of, because keep in mind, you will never be required to configure the device to deal with the reply direction traffic, except asymmetric routing setup. If you have a asym route setup, that's where only you will need to configure the device to handle the reply traffic. Else, there is no way that you will be required to configure the firewall to handle the reply direction traffic, because your device is a stateful. Okay, now that being said, coming to that, how would I know which interface is incoming or which interface is outgoing? So like I said, if you know the direction of the first packet, that means the packet is received on this interface, right? As per the direction. Okay. So this will become my ingress interface or incoming interface. Since the packet is leaving this, hence this is outgoing or egress. Clear? If the direction of the packet would have been in this way, okay, then the same interface would have become here ingress, and here it would have become egress. Clear? It's all about direction of packet, because your interface can be incoming, can be outgoing. But how would you know that? Based upon direction of the packet. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, anything else? Fine then. So let's catch up tomorrow at 9 o'clock. IST in the morning. Thank you all. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.
Sir,
Thank you, sir.
thank you, sir.